Hello everybody. In this video we will try to focus on the present motion of Mars and how it is impacting the wars that are happening around the world. Since 20th October 2024, Mars started transiting the sign of Cancer. Everybody knows that Mars debilitates in the sign of Cancer, that too at 28 degrees. But here Mars is not transiting or not going that much degrees, but Mars is actually transiting in the sign of Cancer. I think it will go till 11 degrees or 15 degrees. We'll see that, but it is not going to touch 28 degrees. It will touch 28 degrees in 2025. We'll talk about that. But see, every year, Mars touches that 28 degrees of Cancer. That's not, the very interesting thing. The very interesting thing is when Mars is touching that debilitation point of 28 degrees, how are the other planetary conditions? That is the most important thing. Now, why we are talking about Mars transiting in the sign of Cancer from 20th October to 20th Jan 2025, 20th October 2024 to 20th January 2025, right? Mars is going to transit Cancer, but in this particular period, it is not going to touch the debilitation point, right? So as it is not touching the debilitation point, it can be a kind of safe situation, you can say, but wars still they go on. Why? The important thing here is Saturn is sitting in the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius is the duty performing house of Saturn. Now Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius and Mars is in the sign of Cancer, right? So for this particular period you can see this situation, right? That is, the period is 20th October 2024 to 20th January 2025. You may ask, what happens? What is the speciality of this condition of Mars and Saturn over here? The speciality is 6-8. If you calculate the position of Mars from Saturn, it is 6 houses away from Saturn. And if you calculate the position of Saturn from Mars, Saturn is sitting in the 8th house when you count from Mars, because Mars is in the sign of Cancer. So from Cancer to Aquarius it is 8 houses, and then Aquarius to Cancer it is 6 houses. So this condition of 6-8 is actually treated as a kind of malefic placement, right? Even when you try to match two horoscopes in astrology, let us say a girl's moon is sitting somewhere in the sign of Cancer, and the boy's moon is sitting somewhere in the sign of Aquarius. So generally astrologers suggest not to get married, because it is called a 6-8 position, because the girl's moon and the boy's moon are 6-8 to each other, right? It's called Shashtashtaka Sthiti, right? Shashta means 6, Ashta means 8. So this kind of Shashtashtaka, any kind of Shashtashtaka, marriages are avoided. They do not get married as per astrology. They should not get married as per astrology. It's something like, if a girl's moon is sitting in the sign of Leo and a boy's moon is sitting in the sign of Pisces, they should not get married according to astrology, because that is Shastastaka. Shastastaka. So what happens? What happens when Shastastaka sthiti occurs? Especially the planets like Mars and Saturn. Mars and Saturn, they are actually they are completely enemies. They are biggest enemies to each other, right? They are biggest enemies to each other. And that too, see, if Saturn is sitting in the sign of, let us say, Taurus, and Mars is in the sign, is sitting in the sign of Libra, here also Shastastaka happens, right? Because Taurus to Libra it is 6-8. In clockwise it is 6, and in anti-clockwise it is 8. Sorry, from Taurus to Libra it is 6, from Libra to Taurus it is 8. It's not clockwise, anti-clockwise, all clockwise only. We see clockwise only in astrology. Now, so this 6-8 position basically treated as a malefic position in astrology. And now I am telling you, this Taurus and Libra, this 6-8, let us say Mars is sitting in the sign of Taurus and Saturn is sitting in the sign of Libra, or Saturn is sitting in the sign of Taurus and Mars is sitting in the sign of Libra. This situation may not be very special. Here, both the planets, of course, they are in 6-8 position, but the impact would be a bit lesser. The impact would be a bit lesser because no planet is debilitated, and of course, here Saturn, when sitting in the sign of Libra, it is exalted. Of course, that is going to be a special situation in that way. Let us take another situation. Let's say Mars is sitting in the sign of Gemini. Mars is sitting in the sign of Gemini. And Saturn is sitting in the sign of Scorpio. Saturn is sitting in the sign of Scorpio. This is also 6-8. This does not have much significance, this 6-8, because here Mars in the sign of Gemini is a kind of average condition, and Saturn in the sign of Scorpio, it's another kind of average situation, no speciality. So in astrology, if there is a speciality to a particular position, that speciality is to be analyzed more. Here Mars is sitting in the sign of Cancer currently in the current transits. So as Mars is sitting in the sign of Cancer, its dignity is not at all good, right? Its dignity is not at all good. That too, if Mars is going 28 degrees, that is a very bad dignity. But at least, now in the current transit, Mars is not going that much. But Saturn is sitting in the sign of Aquarius. It's a Mula Trikona house. Mula Trikona house is nothing but duty performing house. Saturn sitting in the sign of Aquarius is not at all good for the world leaders, because if a world leader is doing something bad, not only for world leaders, it's for general public also. It's a kind of punishment giving situation, right? So Saturn gives punishment because Aquarius is the natural house of results, because 11th house is basically the house that gives results, and Aquarius is the sign of results, the natural house of giving results. So as Saturn is sitting there, it has to give results. What is Saturn? Saturn is a kind of judge. It's not like it's not like a normal judge. He is a very, very strict judge. He calculates your karma very, very clearly, very, very thoroughly, and gives punishment and gives rewards based on your karma. So what happens if there are any bad leaders, if there are any bad public? Bad or good decided by Saturn based on the karma, right? It's not that if you're not happy with someone, he is bad. It's not that. You may be bad also sometimes, right? Anything can happen, and that is known by Saturn. Saturn knows that dharma. Saturn knows that it's a karmic planet, a very severe karmic planet. So this situation from 20th October to 20th January has some special interest, and that too Mars is in the now in the motion of a kind of stambhana, you say. Stambhana means it's kuja stambhana, we say. See, if you observe, for so much of time Mars would transit Gemini and Cancer only, right? For around 6 months or 7 months we will see that, but for most of the time, right, for this time it is happening. So Kujastambhana is a kind of, generally Mars should transit the whole zodiac in 1 year or 1.5 years it takes, right, to complete. But here only to complete these two signs, it is taking more and more time, right? It is taking more and more time. It is in the condition of Stambhana, right? Stambhana. So as Mars is transiting the sign of Gemini and the sign of Cancer for more time, right, for these days. So if you observe for the past 1 or 2 months and the next 4 to 5 months, you would see Mars either in Gemini or in the sign of Cancer. So the motion is a bit very much interested in the sign of Gemini and Cancer. So why it is doing that? It is going to give some special things, right? So thanks for watching this video. I'll post more in the next video.